Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come out here tonight and join us for the City Commission meeting. Before we start, I do have an important announcement to make. Many of you have been following the progress of the Civic Center project that we embarked upon a number of years ago. And last week, on Tuesday and Wednesday, we completed the offering of our bonds. And we got a pretty good interest rate, much less than what we were expecting. So that is good news and welcome news for the city, further lowering the cost of the project and making the value of this project that much more special for the community. For those of you who aren't as familiar with the Civic Center project, for the three maybe in the city that aren't, you know, we embarked on this probably 6 years ago, before we even knew what the Civic Center project was going to be. We started off analyzing our downtown, understanding, you know, some of the mega trends that were not just impacting Royal Oak, but the greater region and heck for the world for that matter. We took measures, deliberate measures. We put together a team. We came up with a plan to bring in Class A office space, and we wanted about 180,000 square feet of Class A office space in the community. And last week on Tuesday, we broke ground finally, as you can see out here, on 140,000 square foot Class A office building that will bring in excess of 700 jobs to Royal Oak, about $230 million a year in economic activity for the surrounding area. So it's a pretty big deal, not just for our community, but I believe it's a pretty big deal for Southeast Oakland County. With the Civic Center project, with the bonds, I just want to remind everybody, this isn't increased tax dollars. These are funds we're raising to do a pretty significant project. We're doing, obviously, a new police station that's going to allow us to maintain and provide the excellent public safety that we do today in an environment that is functional, not just, you know, the situation that we have today, which is at most times untenable. We're getting a new city hall, which will reduce the cost in the long run for taxpayers because it will be much more energy efficient, as will the police department, the new police station. And this, again, will, you know, thinking in the long term, provide not only better service, more accessibility to city government, but save the community, you know, for generations to come, and save the planet at the same time a little bit more. We're getting a downtown park. I mean, it's been, geez, I can't even remember. I'm sure Don Johnson, yeah. Don Johnson was, you know, in his young teens the last time we had a downtown city park. We had green space. No. Sorry, he was in his 40s.
Might have been born, but
which, you know, was really nice to see some of the mistakes of paving over the green space we had in the past and returning it back to what we originally had, a place for people to gather, enjoy this wonderful community. Very excited about that. I think it's going to be an absolute hit. And of course, we're working on the planning of it, and we fully expect to have an equally exciting process like we did with Normandy Oaks with this downtown park. So, you know, a pretty substantial project. This city commission, as well as many other members in the community, worked a number of years to deliver this vision. I think you can find, not knocking any other communities or cities, but, you know, the wait and see approach, the, you know, sit back and govern and wait for people to bring stuff to our table approach has not been a mission, at least with some of the leadership up here at this commission over the years that have been part of it for a long time. And so we made deliberate efforts, and we're going to see, you know, a transition here, a change, and it certainly will be for the positive for this community in almost every box that one could check for success. So that was a very long announcement. I just thought I'd bring everyone up to speed on the offering of the bonds, and, you know, we're that much closer, and I'll tell you what, we got a great team here. We're going to work expeditiously to get it done quickly and have as minimal impact as possible. So with that, I'm going to call the May 21st, 2018 Royal Oak City Commission meeting to order. We're going to begin with an invocation given by Commissioner LeVasseur, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
As we approach Memorial Day, let us appreciate the efforts of the many volunteers in our community who, through their efforts, will make it a significant day in our community. Whether they are taking part in planning or participating in the parade, memorial service, the pancake breakfast, or the cleaning and decorating of veterans' graves, they help make Royal Oak a wonderful place to live. More than anything, though, let's reflect and remember on the purpose of the day, to remember the approximately 1.2 million men and women who, through the service of our nation, made the ultimate sacrifice. May we continue to strive to be worthy of their sacrifice.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this brings us to item number 4, a proclamation designating June 2nd National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And I see Ms. Warren already in the audience here today. She is the local group lead for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America for Oakland and Macomb. I'll ask her to approach the new microphone here. So I'm going to read this proclamation. I believe it's a very important proclamation, as does the City Commission as a whole. So this is a proclamation designating June 2nd to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the city of Royal Oak. Whereas every day 93 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 have sustained non-fatal firearm injuries over the last 5 years. And whereas Americans are 25 times more likely to be killed with guns than people in other developed countries. And whereas protecting public safety and communities they serve is a mayor's highest responsibility. And whereas support of the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from dangerous people. And whereas mayors and law enforcement officers know their communities best, are the most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas June 2nd, 2017 would have been the 20th birthday of Hadia Pettleton, a teenager who marched in President Obama's second inaugural parade and was tragically shot and killed just weeks later. And whereas to help honor Hadia and the 93 Americans whose lives were cut short and the countless survivors who are injured by shootings every day, a national coalition of organizations has designated June 2nd, 2017 as the 3rd annual National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange. They chose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods, and orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 2nd to help raise awareness about gun violence. And whereas by wearing orange on June 2nd, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives and lost human potential of Americans stolen by gun violence. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can do to keep firearms out of the wrong hands and to encourage responsible gun ownership to keep our children safe. Now therefore, be it resolved, I, Mayor Fournier, and the members of the Royal Oak City Commission hereby proclaim June 2nd to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the city of Royal Oak, to honor and remember all victims and survivors of gun violence. I encourage all citizens to support their local community's efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence, to honor and value human lives, and to declare that we, as a country, must do more to reduce gun violence.
Thank you so much.
A few words?
Sure. You are joining a group of about 20 cities in Oakland and Macomb counties, so we can't thank you enough for being a part of this. It's just the 3rd year, but it has grown into a nationwide movement with hundreds of different nonprofits getting involved, so we're just glad to have you guys on board, and we can't thank you enough. We're going to have an event. I have flyers. It is on June 2nd, 10 a.m. We're a 2-county chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, so we're doing it in Warren at Helmich Park, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. family-friendly event, so I've got flyers if anybody's interested. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Warren.
Thank you. Great.
Pardon me while I get my papers in order. Not everything is electronic. We still use paper sometimes. It all gets recycled. So this brings us to item number 5 rather, public comment. Just a few rules about public comment. The City Commission values and relies on the input of our fellow citizens to make decisions. Now is the time set aside for the public to address the City Commission on any city-related issues, both on the agenda and not. I ask that comments be directed to the City Commission as a whole and not to individual commissioners. As there are no public hearings scheduled tonight, public comment will be your only opportunity to speak to the City Commission. Please wait until recognized by me, the mayor, to come up to the podium. For the record, we do kindly ask to state your name and address. Please be mindful that the City Commission wants to hear from everyone who wishes to speak, so comments are limited to 3 minutes or less. And there's a timer at the podium to help you keep track of your time. If you don't wish to speak tonight, please don't hesitate to reach out to any one of your city commissioners at any time. Please note that the City Commission will not respond directly to questions during public comment. However, we are taking notes and will address those questions when the agenda topic is discussed or refer to the proper city department if the matter is not on the agenda this evening. Our city manager also takes pretty good notes here, and he does follow up specifically with individuals who bring concerns to the City Commission. So with that, who's first? Yes, sir, on the aisle here.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Brian Ellison. I'm a resident of Madison Heights, 26029 Delton, and I work in Royal Oak. My kids go to school in Royal Oak. My parents live in Royal Oak. I grew up in Royal Oak, so I have close ties to this community. It's interesting that you were talking about gun violence, because that's exactly what I came here to talk about today. So far, 408 people have died in the U.S. this year at the hands of the police. Of those, 20 were unarmed, and 30 were armed with a vehicle. Based on a population of 325 million people, 1 in every 6.5 million people, unarmed or in a vehicle with no other weapon, have been killed by police so far this year. In Royal Oak, 2 young men fit this category. Royal Oak has a population of about 60,000. Using that figure, 1 in every 30,000 unarmed or in a vehicle with no other weapon have been killed by the Royal Oak Police Department so far this year. That means that in Royal Oak, if you're unarmed or in a vehicle with no other weapon, you're 216 times more likely to be killed by police than in the average U.S. city. As an interesting side note, according to Officer Dow Memorial page, throughout its entire history, 3 police officers have been killed in the line of duty in Royal Oak. 2 were killed in vehicle accidents. 1 was killed in an accidental gunfire incident by another police officer. If the statistics I've mentioned to you aren't alarming, they should be. This pattern of excessive force can be seen in various YouTube videos over the past few years. If not for these videos, the incidents would have gone unnoticed, along with all the other reports of abuse at the hands of ROPD that can't be substantiated by the victims for lack of credible evidence. This failure to hold officers accountable and prevent needless violence has now escalated to 2 killings in 35 days. These deaths lay squarely at the feet of Chief O'Donoghue and the rest of the leadership within the department, who have clearly cultivated an attitude of superiority and a reliance on aggressive and abusive policing. This needs to end. I propose that the City of Royal Oak immediately adopt a policy that requires officers to wear body cameras at all times. I further propose that the Chief of Police be replaced for his failure of responsible leadership. And I would further encourage this body to take the progressive step of requiring police officers to carry their own professional liability insurance rather than put the costs of their excessive behavior and abusive behavior on the backs of the taxpayers. Furthermore, the dash cam footage of the initial chase reported involving Antonio Gordon should be released immediately, as was the footage in the Cody Reynolds case. And as a final note, Chief O'Donoghue is quoted as saying on May 14th, as regarding Cody Reynolds, that he was unarmed at the time of the killing.
Thank you, Mr.
Quote,
Ellison.
but to be fair,
Mr.
there's no
Ellison.
way the officers could
Mr.
have known
Ellison.
that.
Mr. Ellison, you're out of order.
Chief
Mr. Ellison.
O'Donoghue, that saying you
Mr.
could have had a
Ellison,
weapon
Mr. Ellison, I'm
is
going to have to
never
ask you to take your seat. You're
justification
in violation
for
of the
murder.
rules of this body.
Thank you.
I ask if you're going to come to public comment, you respect the rules of this community. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Linda Lupi, and I live at 4015 Auburn in Royal Oak. And I'm here to talk to you about a vacant house that's in our neighborhood. We are on the west side of Woodward between 13 and 14 Mile, and our neighborhood association, ROBHIA, has been, over the course of the last 6+ years, attempting to get this vacant house addressed in our neighborhood. I'm walking my dog by it every day. Fortunately, I don't live on Verona. I don't have to look at it every day. But every day I go by, it falls into further and further disrepair. I took it upon myself in January to start to make some contacts to see if something could be done to bring this house up to the standards of the neighborhood. I first contacted the city and was directed to Jason Craig, who informed me that there were no current code violations and that the inspector who is assigned to our quadrant does have it on his or her radar. He also explained to me that there is a huge gray area between what is neighborhood standards and what this house has fallen into disrepair for. I'm concerned because my largest investment is my home. And if this house is allowed to continue to deteriorate, then it's going to set a standard, a very low standard for what's happening in our neighborhood. We currently have 2 additional vacant houses that are in the neighborhood. One has been vacant for quite a while, and it's starting to fall apart. The third one, the owner has moved to California, and it has been for sale. But again, they are not local, and they are not in a position to know what that house looks like on a daily basis in our neighborhood. We don't have the biggest houses in the neighborhood. We don't have the smallest houses in the city. We have a neighborhood of mixed brick homes, and we all want to maintain our property values. We have also been in contact with the management company, which is located on Woodward, actually right across the street from our neighborhood. They didn't realize that they actually had that property under their jurisdiction when I went in there. The person that I spoke with did get back to me after 2 weeks because I had submitted to her a request for certain items to be addressed on behalf of the neighborhood, and she said she would be contacting the owners. I went by the house today as I walked my dog, and the front yard has been cut. The backyard has been cut, and they have raked all the leaves and all the twigs and all the limbs into 2 tarps that have been sitting there for, at least the front yard ones have been sitting there for at least a week. So what I have given to you is a summary of the facts as I know them about this property. I've also want to let you know that this house is on a prominent corner in our neighborhood. Okay, it is on the corner of Normandy and Verona, and people have a stop sign there, so cars go by there on a daily basis and see this house that's falling down. I've given you the list of suggested remedies that I've provided to the management company and to the homeowner, and I've got some questions here that I hope the commissioners will address because we are in a no man's land. I appreciate your time.
Yes, ma'am, on the aisle.
Hello, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Janine Bucciarelli-Kolakowski, and I've lived in Royal Oak my whole life. My father was a firefighter for 30-odd years. And I've come before you tonight. We are on the agenda on June 11th. Mount Vernon Boulevard is where I live, 618. And let me read this petition that was taken around by a neighbor. It included special assessment paving of Mount Vernon Boulevard from Custer Avenue to dead end west of Custer Avenue with 2 lanes of 21-foot, 7-inch wide thick concrete pavement with integral curb and gutter. This petition was missing several things. It's missing the width of the total road, the total turnaround, which is going to be huge, like Lexington Boulevard at the end of the street, our dirt street. Homeowners that signed for this petition, I was told by Matt, the city engineer, that there was 52 on our dead-end street that signed it 52%, which you require 50. And that one person changing their mind could stop this in its tracks. Our concern is we never received the total width of the road, the total easement, the width of the medium, and be honest with you, 21-foot wide, 7-inch, which is as important as that, would be the thickness of the subgrading. Now, I know this is preliminary, but we're coming up for a big step on June 11th. My ask is that we're given some time. My husband is a civil structural engineer in 18 states as well as Canada. We have valid questions. We need to know the load requirements on our road. We need to know a lot of information. We'd like to have it surveyed so people see flag it and see how many trees we're going to lose. Because this road thickness doesn't include the amount they're going to dig up to put the road in. Okay, they're going to have to put in wood, for the concrete. There's a lot going on that people aren't aware of. The other issue is we did ask there's an assessment we were given, an estimate. My husband and I asked for a file, a drawing that would coincide with this estimate. And we were told that there is none by Matt Callahan. He actually told our association president that there wasn't a drawing. We find it hard to believe when you do an estimate, even a preliminary. It's on the bottom of the estimate is a note, design file saved here, engineering CAD. This is a drawing that we've asked to look at, to see the cross-section. We need to share with the homeowners. There's currently right now another petition going out in our neighborhood that might include all 3 roads. Because Mount Vernon Boulevard is a street in and of itself. We are a boulevard for almost 100 years, okay? We cannot take one end.
Sir, you're out of order again.
Thank you for listening. And
Thank you. We'll see you on June
My
11th.
request is that we could table the June 11th meeting and give us some more time.
Well,
Okay?
yeah, well, can you put that request in an email to us? That would be helpful as well.
Would I address you, Mayor,
Yeah, you can
directly?
actually email it to all of us.
Okay,
That'd be
thank
great.
you very
Thank
much.
you. Yes, Ms. Barra.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioner. Thank you for having me here this evening. I'm optimistic that one of your items will be approved tonight, but I'm here to just speak on it. It's the master plan process. My name is Ann Varro. I live at 2449 Galpin. I'm a 25-year resident, and I'm also the chair of the Planning Commission. At our meeting last month, we moved to approve to meet with the commission in June, and we're hoping that you'll move forward on that. I just like to take a minute just to talk about the master plan process. A brief definition: a master plan is a dynamic long-term planning document that provides a conceptual layout to guide the future growth and development. A master plan includes analysis, recommendations, and proposals for a site's population, economy, housing, transportation, community facilities, and land use. So I think those are pretty important statements. A few observations. We haven't had a master plan in 20 years. Our city has and is changing and will continue to change. Our people and demographics have changed and will continue to change. Of course, our technology needs are changing, and they're changing every year. So to have something that's 20 years old is clearly outdated. Our mode of transportation has changed. We need a good inventory and asset management plan for the city, and I think we should be well on our way to doing that. And lastly, a nice environmental plug. I'd like to see Royal Oak be the greenest and the cleanest city in Southeast Michigan. If we can get there, I think we should. I think it's incumbent upon us to try to get there with all the growth and great things happening in Royal Oak. I was at the groundbreaking for the WROK, and there was a lot of people there. There was a lot of enthusiasm around that. I think it's going to be a pretty special place. In the meantime, I think we should be thinking green along those lines. The only way we're going to keep people and attract people is to think about our environment around us. Not just our water environment, but our green environment as well, and the park as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barra. All right, who's next? Mr. London?
Hello, David London, 5132 Thorncroft. I'll be brief. So I'm here again to invite everyone to the Royal Oak Memorial Day Parade, starting at 9 o'clock on Memorial Day. We're starting off at Lincoln and going up One of the reasons I want to speak tonight is because of the construction this coming months, we're diverting at 3rd over to Troy. So the marches will be going up Main, diverting off on 3rd over to Troy, where they can either split off and go to the parking lot and leave from there, or they can go up to the ceremony. We'd love to have everyone join us there. Or if they're splitting off and going to the parking lot, I'd invite everybody to go to the Historical Society's pancake breakfast, which is going on at the same time. So we just wanted to make it known that there's a slight difference in the path of the parade this year, that it's going to be a fantastic parade and ceremony. We'd like to see everybody there. And I just drafted up a map that we circulated. Hopefully people got it on their invites, that we'll also be posting on social media to make everybody aware of any of the changes. And on a side note, I'd like to thank everyone for their service, and as well as everything that the Royal Oak Police is doing. I know they come under a lot of griping, but I would like to say personally that I appreciate everyone's service to their community and everything that the Royal Oak Police does for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. London, and I think respectfully we appreciate the work that you're doing and the rest of the Memorial Day Planning Committee as well. Looking forward to a great event.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
My name's Anthony Kolakowski. I'm the husband of my wife, who was just up here moments ago. I'm here for the special assessment paving of Mount Vernon Boulevard. I want to congratulate you on the idea of opening up a new park in this area. It's beautiful. Parks are great. I love trees. But there's one park that I live on for a long time, and the community around us enjoys it. It's Mount Vernon Boulevard. It's a dirt road. It looks like a country. People come around all over the place and enjoy it. They walk down. We see the deer walking through. It's an absolutely beautiful place. And it's been around for 100 years. People love it. And the way I look at it, it is a park to me, and park to a lot of people in the community. And I just hope that you guys would consider what we're doing as far as paving over this area. The other reason is I'm not sure exactly why are we paving this road exactly? Is it cost, or is it other reasons? People just may not like it. I'm not too sure. But the majority of the street really enjoys the park, the dirt road. And I just want to have that opportunity to say that. And if there are any other options to take care of the problems, if it's potholes or anything else that's been fixed over a long time, it's great. But I'm telling you, it is a beautiful park to me and to a lot of people in the area. And I know I appreciate this opportunity to say it. Okay, thank you.
I do agree. It's a beautiful road, beautiful street. Arv. Mr. Reddy is ready.
Arvin Reddy, 618 South Pleasant. I just wanted to invite everyone again to a meeting Wednesday, 2 days from now, the 23rd, at the Royal Oak Public Library for Promote the Vote. Promote the Vote is a nonpartisan ballot initiative to make voting more secure and accessible in the state. We're doing very well, but there's only about a month and a half left to collect about 400,000 signatures. So just looking to get people involved. You can learn more at promotethevote.mi.com or promotethevote.mi on Facebook. It's really great, and getting involved can be as simple as coming to this meeting, picking up a sheet, and collecting signatures from your friends and family and bringing it back. It's the kind of thing we need, just a lot of people to do a little bit, and we can get there. So thanks. Wednesday, Royal Oak Public Library.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. Yes, in the aisle.
Good evening. Megan Piskey, 923 East 5th Street. I was looking at the new parking map, and I'm wondering where the bicycle parking is, because I know there were some put in, and now they're gone. They've been replaced with car parking. But I live quite close to downtown, and I can tell you people ride their bikes all the time. My sons ride their bikes to the library. There's bike parking by the library, but I think our community downtown needs more. and it would be used, I think. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Piskey. Anybody else here to speak at public comment tonight? Yes, sir.
Jack Rosbeck, 4149 Sheffield Road. I just wanted to say, thank you for making June 2nd National Gun Violence Awareness Day, because it is a very important issue that needs to be recognized throughout this city, throughout this state, throughout this entire country. I was at the walkout. I spoke at the walkout because I'm part of a student leadership group at my school, Royal Oak High School, which consists of 6 people who believe that gun violence is a very big issue and a very apparent issue that needs to be stopped as soon as possible. I'm glad that you recognized that day as National Gun Violence Awareness Day, because it's bad that about a little over 90 people die each day because of gun violence, and I think we can definitely do better than that. This is just a quick thank you for recognizing Gun Violence Awareness Day, especially because this means a lot to, not only to me, but to victims, to survivors, to even to those who aren't even in this city, who live in the state, but people who see that we are with them, in a sense. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir, for your efforts in Royal Oak High School and all you're doing to make this issue apparent and helping the conversation for everybody. Anybody else here to speak at public comment tonight? Going once? Going twice? Last chance? All right, we're bringing the meeting back up here. All right, this brings us to item number 6, the approval of the agenda. Commissioner Douglas.
Move approval?
Commissioner Douglas moves for approval of the agenda. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Macy. Is there any discussion? All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. We have an agenda. This brings us down to item number 7, the consent agenda. Commissioner Macy?
I'd like to take item E off.
Okay, item E, which is the award of professional engineering services, library and court exterior repairs. Any other modifications to the consent agenda? Okay. With none, the consent agenda will now include of the claims from May 22nd, 2018, proclamation designating June as Gay Pride Month, proclamation designating June as Men's Health Month, award of contract CAP 1822 non-motorized improvements, approval of vehicle charging stations, agreement to provide animal control services, approval of proposed settlement, Wynes versus the City of Royal Oak, approval of Sidewalk Café application for Old Detroit City Grille, and receive and file non-action items, which include the April 2018 South Oakland County Resource Recovery Authority and Southeastern Oakland County Water Authority quarterly reports. Is there a motion for this consent agenda? Commissioner Douglas moves the modified consent agenda, supported by Commissioner Macy. Is there any discussion? Okay, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion passes. This brings us to item number E, formerly on the consent agenda. Ms. Macy, award of professional engineering services, library and court exterior repairs.
Yes, so we on the library board saw what's attached here as attachment 1 from OHM, which was the estimate for the repairs to the roof, and there was much discussion, and we chose the repair that we thought would be the best for the terms of cost and maintenance. And this was added into the library budget with those numbers. And then today, when I saw this on the agenda, I was surprised that at the addition of the second attachment and what we're asking for, because the library board had approved $80,000 in renovation costs, and now it looks like there's an additional $33,000 to be charged to the library budget for the design of these. And I guess I had assumed that was included in the $80,000 that we were going to do initially, and I'd like to see this go back to the library board to discuss the $30,000 and to see if we would make different decisions on the cost of the repairs if we had that information to begin with.
I don't know if there's anybody here, Mr. Johnson or Mr. Callahan is motioning towards his mic.
I can answer that. The initial estimates for the construction work did not include the design work. It would have been nice to have an estimate of the design to take, I'm not quite sure how this information, when I give it to Mary Karshner at the library, it goes through the proper channels over there for the decision-making process. But we were given the authorization to start working on this, and that you had to set aside some money for that. So that's how we came about asking OHM to put together an estimate for the design. They didn't design anything yet. They've only done a report that stated the problems at the library.
Commissioner LeVasseur?
How urgent is it to move forward quickly on these repairs? Is this something that we can send back to the library board without any significant problems?
Well, if you want to have the construction work done before this coming winter, then making a decision very soon is going to be needed.
Okay, and I'm not sure when the library board.
Tomorrow.
The library board meets tomorrow. If we were to revisit this, the first or second meeting in June, would that be timely enough to move forward?
We certainly could give it a try. I don't know what with OHM's schedule is, but they may be pushed a little bit to a tighter schedule, but I don't know that that would be a problem.
Ms. Macy?
For full disclosure to the rest of the commission, I'm sure that Mary Karshner, library director, is somewhere watching her TV and shaking her fist at me. So I'm not sure that this would be, that people are generally upset about this. I did exchange emails with Mary today.
Mr. Johnson?
I would remind you that you do have a meeting scheduled for Wednesday.
We have one tomorrow as well.
You have a library board meeting
Okay.
tomorrow, but we have a budget meeting scheduled
yeah.
for Wednesday, so we could.
Budget meeting is called as a special meeting of the city commission, so you could bring that item up at that time.
Oh.
No. So we can send it, so I guess what I'm hearing is, Ms. or Commissioner Macy, if you want the
Motion,
opportunity
yeah.
to discuss this tomorrow night, I don't know if 2 days is gonna make a big issue for OHM. If we can put it on the agenda for Wednesday as part of our special city commission meeting, I think that's a satisfactory, remedy to at least make sure the concerns are addressed by the library board. Anyone disagree? So, Commissioner Macy.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner LeVasseur. Any discussion? With none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We'll bring this back Wednesday. All right. Thank you, Mr. Callahan.
You're welcome.
This brings us to item number 8, request to schedule a city commission joint meeting with the planning commission. And I will, is Mr. Twing's not here, Mr. Johnson?
The Planning Commission has offered the date of Tuesday, June 12th at 7 p.m. That is a regular meeting of the Planning Commission. It would be my intent, they don't go this far, that it would be in this room, and since it is their regular meeting, unless there's an objection, I would plan on seating the Planning Commission at the table and putting the city commissioners in the front row.
Any objections to the date or the seating plan? Commissioner Perush?
I don't have any objection to the date. I will be out of town. I won't be able to attend on that date. I would love to come, but I won't be here.
It is a great group of people, led by Anvara. Commissioner Charlene Douglas is on it too.
So's the mayor.
Mayor, I heard he's on it too. He seems pretty cool. Commissioner Macy.
So, our children have a t-ball game that night, but there you have it. And my daughters have a softball game, but I don't think there's gonna be a day that there's not that kind of conflict, so I don't know.
Commissioner Macy also helps take care of my t-ball schedule as well. Our boys are on the same team.
We didn't have those
Commissioner
kind of issues
DeBuck.
10 years ago.
I'm just wondering if it would be completely inappropriate to move the meeting forward to 6 o'clock. If that's their standard meeting time, would that throw people off? Or I understand they have a light agenda, that's why we're doing this. Would people be amenable to doing 6 o'clock start time? Because I know Commissioner Douglas can talk about city planning for a long time.
So
Commissioner,
can other members of the planning commission.
Commissioner Mason.
I have a conflict at 6.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
So do I.
No.
All right, 7 it is.
7 it is. Put it at the beginning of the agenda or at the end of the agenda for planning?
I'll ask them to put you at the beginning of the agenda.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there the whole time, so it doesn't matter to me. All right, so what I'm hearing is that if there is a motion out there, would be for June 12th, 7 PM. Moved by Commissioner Douglas. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Macy. Discussion? All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. We have a joint meeting. All right, this brings us to item number 9, approval of special event permit, Kona Running Company, Jolly Pumpkin 5K Run. Our amazing Chief O'Donohue.
Mayor, City Commission, we have a request from the Kona Running Company in partnership with Jolly Pumpkin to hold a 5K run and a post-race gathering on the city lot at 5th and Williams. The event is to take place on Saturday, September 15th, and will run just from 10:30 a.m. to noon. They will be reimbursing the city for all their costs. The only reason it's coming to this body is because they want to, part of their event is all the runners over 21 get alcohol, and they'll have that in the tent area.
Any questions for Chief O'Donohue? Any questions for the City Commission?
No, sir.
All right. Commissioner Perush.
I'll move approval.
A motion by Commissioner Perush, second by Commissioner Dubak. Discussion? All right. With none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. We have a 5K run with Jolly Pumpkin. That sounds good. All right, that brings us to item number 10, approval of agreement for sexual harassment prevention training. And I see Mr. Vandelar is here.
Yep. So it's been a couple of years since we last did sexual harassment training for our employees. I think the last time was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. I know we cut back quite a bit on our training budget since the last recession, so I'd really like to go back to restoring some of that. Obviously, the topic is pretty hot in the news these days. It's not to say we're doing it just because of that. I did look around quite a bit. Looked at different options, including our EAP. Also looked at some EAP options that different cities use. Then MMRMA had a training event that I attended. Really liked the training, and I really suggest we move forward with the attorneys that did that presentation. The company's called Sue Ellen Eisenberg. It's a two-man show, really. The intent is that the supervisors would be trained by both attorneys, and then the rest of the staff by one of the attorneys. So it's going to be kind of a longer and a shorter session for all employees.
Any questions for Mr. Vandelar? Commissioner Macy.
Will we receive this training?
I'm sorry?
Will we receive this training?
Right now, we have it scheduled to be done for every single full-time employee, so that includes the court, that includes fire, police. Now, those are going to be a little hard to capture sometimes with the shifts, of course, that they work. Public Works is kind of the same, so we're trying to capture as many as possible. Having said that, we did kind of limit the number of sessions to approximately 7 or 8 sessions to kind of stay within budget. So if we don't feel like we caught or captured enough employees, then we can certainly ask for them to come back.
Any other questions? Okay. Commissioner Perush.
I'll move approval of this recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Perush, seconded by Commissioner Dubak. Discussion? Geez, they popped up. Commissioner Douglas.
I was going to second it by saying me too, but
Clever and appreciated. Commissioner Macy?
The letter says that there's going to be a max not to exceed amount of 10,500. I didn't see that amount in the contract.
That amount is really limited by the number of sessions that we dictate to them. So I do have an email negotiation or email confirmation on that amount. It's not actually listed in the agreement, just in case there is any, it's kind of a flexible amount, really, to be honest. The 10.5, I did communicate that to them in the email, that's something that I did not want to exceed. That's something that's entirely within our control. Again, that's based on the number of sessions that we set with them. It can be significantly less even than the amount that, than the 10,500. Right now, the amount of money that we're looking at is probably going to be closer to about $7,000 or $8,000.
Any other questions, discussion? Commissioner Macy?
I'm glad we're getting this back in the rotation. This is an important issue, and I'm glad to see we're addressing it, taking the lead.
Agreed. All right. Without any further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Van Villar. Good luck. All right, that brings us to the end of our meeting. Notwithstanding any other important business for the betterment of this community, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Gibbs?
I'm not suggesting a motion to adjourn yet. I wanted to do a reminder for the class with Coco. Thank you.
Ah, okay.
Only because Mr. Johnson and I discussed it earlier today. On Monday, June 4th, Eleanor Coco, we all know her as Coco, Sewer is coming to do another parliamentary procedure workshop, and it is open to all city commissioners and any board or committee member. And I highly suggest that it be attended. It's very good information. It's condensed. It's somewhat easy to understand. It gives you the Robert's rules. It's very important, and that's how we run our meetings. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gibbs. You also want to make a motion to adjourn too, since you
Oh,
have
I can
the
do that
floor?
since I
Since you have the floor?
And that workshop is from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Sorry, I forgot that. And with that, I have a motion to adjourn.
A motion by Commissioner Gibbs. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Perush. Any discussion? All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.